Oh, yes, indeed. Tunde MacAlabi joins us now, also a Public Affairs Analyst. Thank you for coming on today. Well, eventually, the state of emergency has been declared. The troops have moved in from the reports that we've seen, and it's ongoing at the moment. But you think it's the way to go?
I think that Nigerians should commend the president for taking the bold decision at this critical point in our national development to express the collective anger of Nigerians by declaring the state of emergency that he has done. Nigerians have watched helplessly the desecration of their land by terrorists. These kind of characters are alien to our national life, but they have invaded us. And Nigerians are impatient. We are impatient for development. With the democratic institutions that are in place, Nigerians are in a hurry to begin to enjoy the dividends of democracy. North, south, everywhere. But we have seen a period of arrested development because of this Boko Haram issue. And I think that all well-meaning Nigerians must support the president to carry this through. He has made the bold decision, and I think that it is in the best interest of Nigerians. I've listened to political leaders, some of them who are well-meaning, are voicing their support for this bold move by the president. Others have voiced dissent, but Nigerians are watching. I think that North-South, no matter your political coloration, this is a move that is inevitable at this time. And I think that the president needs our support and encouragement to carry it through.
Do you think there's any such thing in this part of the world, Aklam, where we should be talking about knowing where to draw the line in certain matters, politics or not?
Well, you see, our politicians, I'm sorry to say, they cause most of the problems that we face in Nigeria because of their insincerity, because of their selfish motives. They've drawn us into this mess in the first place because we hear reports that our politicians armed young unemployed people in some of these areas who have in turn used these weapons of destruction against the people. And so there's a lot of rot in our political system. And I think that this problem that has arisen now must teach us a lesson on the way to go about our politics. We are not doing it right, I'm sorry to say. And I think there is need for a reorientation. The war that we're fighting now is two-pronged because we have to win the physical battle, and we also have to win the hearts and minds of people who have been exposed to a different kind of propaganda, using religion as a tool. Extremism has never worked anywhere. It will not work here.
So it's a war.
There's a war. Let us not kid ourselves about it. There's an ongoing war. Boko Haram declared war on Nigeria. The president is sworn to protect the sovereignty and integrity of Nigeria. And he has to continue to assert that authority to protect the sovereignty and integrity of Nigeria.
He needs the support of every Nigerian, isn't it?
That's what I said.
So what kind of support should he be getting?
Oh, it needs our moral support. It needs to hear political leaders, especially those who come from the northern region, that yes, this is the way to go. You must cooperate with government. You must give these terrorists, they live among the people. They live among the people. So people must have confidence in their government, in the ability of their government to protect them. And when they have this confidence, they should be willing to give information. Because, we are confronted with a situation where we understand people are even paying protection money to these terrorists. It has gone so bad.
Do you think that, pardon me for butting in, because you talk a part of that theme of giving information, would it be a bad idea? Because remember, we have state of emergency in some local governments before now. If the security strategists, perhaps to change the way things have been done previously, but to keep publicizing and talking about the successes recorded in those local governments and why we're taking it further, what exactly we're doing, such that the country can also have this sense of belonging, such that, okay, well, yes, this is what the authorities are doing, okay, we're mindful of this, and from so doing, we gain confidence.
That's right. I believe that there needs to be an overhaul of the operational strategy of even the military in this regard. Like you said, those local governments were restive at a point, but the states of emergency that were declared achieved the results of calming.
No, but we also hear that eventually they control more local governments. Or I don't know if it's more, but they control some local governments in Maiduguri as well. But is that a success or failure on that, the previous one?
I think that we have not applied the necessary measures that needed to be applied in dealing with the Boko Haram insurgency, which is what the president has done now. You needed to apply massive force to confront. You can't imagine the amount of weapons that have been brought into this theater of war by the insurgents. And so you needed the power and the might of the state to be exhibited through massive deployment of military personnel to even assure the citizens that government is in control. Yeah, otherwise, Boko Haram will overrun some of the states.
That massive deployment should not be the end of it.
But it should be accompanied.
A complex whole.
Exactly. Like I said, we also have to win the hearts and minds of the people who have been brainwashed to believe that the Nigerian state has nothing good for them.
You know, that is very, very important and also difficult to achieve in a situation where we have guerrilla warfare going on, because as soon as any of the civilians are caught in any crossfire, it pushes the people back further instead of coming to you. So we had Captain Umar here who told us what they did in Liberia, and he says, well, we should talk about some kind of soft war, talking about how well you can speak to those people, talk to them, and be part of that particular community. How can the soldiers do this side by side with what they're about to do now to face the insurgents, fire for fire?
Yes, I think that this period is the critical period of the war, where there's massive deployment of military personnel and resources. And we'll get to the point where the politicians have to move in. Remember that I mentioned winning the hearts and minds of the people of that region through what you call the soft approach, through new forms of reorientation. These people have been told, they have been, their mindsets have been bastardized through inflow of wrong information from Boko Haram. And so you need a counter educational strategy to change their minds and mindset. And so education is very key in this regard. You also have to demonstrate that there's a government that has the interest and welfare of the people in mind. Because people have said, those who are honest among the northern leaders have accepted that failure of governance has perhaps helped to see to the growth of sects like Boko Haram. Don't forget that in the past we had Matsasine group. And so this will not be the end. I see a future where you have all kinds of insurgency that may come up. And so we have to take a decision that henceforth we must deliver good governance to ensure that the welfare of our people is paramount, no matter the kind of politics that we play.
Well, now bringing politics into all of this, perhaps you should space it more. Tell us what the political class hasn't done well to have warranted all of this, because people are still, a little bit confused as to who or is responsible for the insurgency we are actually going through now. Some would say it's a bit of politics. Some others will say, well, some extremists from outside Nigeria have infiltrated the country. And some would say some criminals that have been encouraged over time, again, by the political class.
The political class, yes.
So what haven't we been doing over time that we should be doing now to stop all of this mayhem?
Well, our leaders have neglected critical areas of education, of investment in agriculture, of investment in areas that will contribute to the well-being of our citizens. And so, like they say, the devil finds a workshop in idle hands, and which is what has happened here. Because people seem to be alienated from the resources that should be theirs. The affluence that is displayed by the political class is a disincentive to participation in government. People feel excluded.
And it didn't just start today.
It didn't start today. It's a problem that has festered over the years. And that's why I say that, look, we have an opportunity now for a new beginning. And the political class has major role to play in this regard.
What about the people? Do you see them looking at this situation and seeing through politicians such that anyone who comes up with any sentiments that below standard in terms of what exactly do you have in place, do you think Nigerians can demonstrate that by not putting any such person in position?
No, I think people are more aware now. People have seen what is happening. People are, because of globalization, people are aware of what is happening in other climes. And so I believe that even though there is poverty everywhere, and, the disease of poverty sometimes make people to make the wrong choices because of financial inducement. But I believe that gradually the generality of Nigerians will now begin to make better and informed choices about those who they elect to lead them. I believe that gradually we'll get to that point.
All right, but lots of comments are coming through on this one now, but what about the role of the National Assembly here? What do you expect?
I believe that, because now this brings me to what my organization has always canvassed for, that we need to reduce the cost of governance. And that must start from the National Assembly. We are of the opinion that, look, I know that the executive has inaugurated a committee to look at how the cost of governance can be reduced, and agents will be merged and all that. I believe that what we need in this country is a unicameral assembly. Just one house.
But you see them supporting this anyway?
I'm hoping that they will. I'm hoping that they will. Because what is the alternative? Like Prof said, the alternative is anarchy. And as long as we want to have Nigeria, I think this is the way to go for now.
Well, groups like yours, because it's not just, as some have said, it's not just about the state of emergency. There's so many groups that the authorities need to engage in this to ensure that re-education, as you highlighted, faith-based groups, religious bodies, to ensure...
The traditional institutions.
All of them have to come on board. The government has to engage all these people to ensure that, look, everything is brought back to normal.
Yes. Nigerians have to speak with one voice. We all have to speak with one voice. We should put politics aside, because I still see some political undertone in the response of some of our political leaders to the current debacle that we're faced with. But I think that we have to put politics aside. We have a problem which we have to face squarely. And if we continue to play politics, I'm afraid that, Nigeria will totter.
And no wonders, where then would they play the politics?
Exactly.
Tunde MacAlabi, a Public Affairs Analyst. Thank you for coming on.